Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to talk about my 3 favorite baits for December bass fishing. I can't believe it's December already. I actually went out to a pond today just to take a look around. I haven't been out on the water in a while. I've been doing a little bit of traveling. I've been sick, and I actually found that it's frozen already. So while we might be frozen here, I don't know if all of our bodies of water are frozen. I might try and get out on the water 1 or 2 more times before the end of the year. But some of the southern states, you guys might not be frozen yet. Or if you just want to keep some ideas in mind, if you do travel and fish, these are going to be the baits that I'd recommend that you throw. And I will actually be trying to take the boat down to Florida at the end of the month. So if there's anything you'd like to see from Florida, technique-wise, lakes you'd like to see me fish, anything, go ahead and leave a comment down below. I will make that video while I'm down there in Florida. We'll make a bunch of videos. The plan is just to go down there and film. And we have a ton of exciting stuff coming up on the channel, so make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss that coming up. I have a couple things I don't want to reveal yet, and then a couple things that we're going to work on, upping the video quality and the kind of stuff that we do on the channel. I want to try and do a couple different things, and I'll be asking for your feedback on some of those videos coming up here in the future. But for now, let's get into December bass fishing baits. Like I said, we're a little bit frozen here, not everywhere. You could still probably fish a couple places, and if I were to fish and there's any open water at all, these are going to be the 3 baits that I'm going to throw. They're going to work down to literally freezing water temperatures, so that's why we picked the ones in today's video. So number 1 right here is going to be a blade bait. This bait, I've talked about it in a couple videos previously. It works no matter how cold the water gets because you can vary your retrieve speed. So if the water is very, very cold, you can jig it very gently and just let it lay on the bottom for a long period of time. All that these fish are doing is when you jig this up, it's going to flash, it'll draw their attention, and when it lays back down on the bottom like a dying bait fish, the other fish that was eyeing it up will slowly work its way over to the bait, and then you'll jig it up again, and then eventually it'll be so close that when you go to jig it up, it'll just go ahead and grab that bait. So that's why the blade bait works so well. It's a very simple and effective way to catch bass in very cold water. It works excellent on smallmouth bass, but largemouth and spotted bass will eat this bait as well. And you can fish it pretty much on any rod and reel combo you have. I fished it on spinning rods, 7-foot medium with a 15-pound braid to a fluorocarbon leader. This, I just have it on a 7-foot medium heavy. And then as for colors, it's really simple when it comes down to colors on this bait. So this one's a white one right here. This is one I would use on cloudy days, dirtier water when you're really trying to get those fish's attention. And then there's 2 other colors that I really like to throw. You can get other painted ones in like bluegill colors and stuff like that. But on a cloudier day, but you have some clear water, a gold would work really well, or if you have perch in your lake. And then the number 1 color that I throw is just a straight silver or chrome. That's a really, really good color. It works pretty much all the time. That's this or white is like the number 1 choice that I pick out. It'll either be a chrome or a white 95% of the time. My next bait that I would throw here for winter bass fishing, December bass fishing, is going to be a Ned Rig. This bait will catch them no matter how cold it gets as well. Again, specifically smallmouth, but it will work for largemouth and spotted bass as well. There's 2 jig heads that I really like to throw, whether it's my hand pour or just any mushroom-shaped jig head. And then if you fish rivers or current or rocks, big rocks, this new 6th Sense weedless football Ned head is an awesome one as well. I've been catching a ton of fish on this guy as well. I will always use a Z-Man TRD this time of year. The 3-inch is perfect. The reason I go with this one is when I can sit it on the bottom, it'll just float there and do its thing in that cold water. I can fish this bait very, very slowly and draw those fish in from a distance just like that blade bait. That's pretty much all there is to the Ned Rig this time of year. It works all the time, all the way into freezing water because of how slow you can fish this bait. Really drag it along the bottom and draw those fish in. Make sure you finesse them really, really well this time of year. They pretty much won't chase moving baits. You will catch them on some depending on your weather conditions and stuff like that. But when I'm down in that like low 40-degree water temperatures, I'm fishing like the slowest moving baits I can find because everything down on the bottom is also moving that slow. So the slower you can fish your Ned rigs this time of year, the more bites you're going to get. It's going to be excruciating to fish it. It's going to be so boring. You really have to know where the fish are this time of year. You can make a lot of wasted casts if you don't know where these fish live. So you got to know those fish's wintering holes, where they want to hide out for the rest of the winter, maybe where they'll spend their winters under the ice. That's going to be the last place you're going to catch them before it freezes. So if you know where those places are, if you catch bass through the ice, you want to cast where you're catching them through the ice typically, and drag this thing as slow as you can, and that will get you a bunch of bites. As for colors, I keep it really simple. Green pumpkin orange if you have some crawfish, basic black and blue. I don't really get too fancy on the colors. And then your jig head size, this time of year is when I'm going to go with a little bit heavier Ned Rig jig head size, so like a 3/16 is what I really like to fish this time of year, just because I can keep that bait on the bottom and dragging it really slow. I don't want to put a lot of action into this. I want to maintain bottom contact as long as I can and keep it down there in the strike zone as long as I can. So let's get into the last bait here. This is one of my favorites for largemouth, but it works for all species of fish. If you have any open water left for largemouth bass, ponds, small lakes, this is going to be the one that I really like to throw. And this guy is my favorite bait for December bass fishing. It even works into November, other earlier times of the year as well. But this is going to be the Ike's Mini Flip Jig. This bait works exceptionally well in the colder water months, and I do a couple things to this jig to make sure I catch the most amount of fish. So the first thing, obviously I picked the smaller profile. I'm going to fish a very small bait this time of year. You would think it would be the opposite. Those fish don't want to eat a lot, so if a big meal gets in front of their face, they would want to just eat that, and then they don't have to eat for a long period of time. I find I get more bites if I do the opposite. I've found that if I fish a smaller profile, if there's a bass in the area and it just happens to fall in front of his face, he's just going to eat it because it's a small meal. He just has to suck it in his mouth. He's good to go. So that's why I love this mini flip jig, and that's trailer selection is going to be important here as well. The other thing I'll do with this, it comes in 3 sizes now, I believe. It comes in a quarter, a 3/8, and a half. I fish the 3/8 99% of the time, but the quarter could even work this time of year. You want the slowest fall you can get. Again, everything in the water is going to move very slowly. So if you're fishing the 1/2 ounce and you crawl it over a laydown and it just rockets back down to the bottom, it doesn't look natural. But if you fish the 1/4 ounce and you crawl it over a laydown, you're going to have to fish it slowly, but you crawl it over that laydown and it just flutters back down to the bottom. It looks very natural. Those fish are going to come grab this bait immediately. They're going to be very attracted to that action. That's the type of stuff that you're looking for. As for colors, I keep it really simple. Anything green pumpkin or black and blue, depending on your water clarity. And lastly, your trailer selection. There are 2 trailers that I really like to fish this time of year, and they're both no action trailers. And what I mean by that is they have this just straight claws, straight appendages. They don't move water at all. So if I'm looking for a little bit bigger bite, I will go with this one right here. It's the river bug, the small river bug from Bass Pro, or the baby D-bomb is another one. Missile Baits makes it. That type of bait works really well, the small beaver style bait. You could even use a Reaction Innovation Smallie Beaver. That's an excellent one as well. The other one is going to be the Berkley Power Bait Meaty Chunk. And what I'm going to do with this one, typically a chunk style trailer, you just stab your hook in the middle and let it hang off the back. I will actually thread this up on the bait. This is the only bait that you can thread it up on there and the claws will still hang below the skirt material and make it look very natural. And that is going to make the most compact presentation. It's a very small jig, tiny, tiny jig. It's probably the smallest jig you can get out there on the market in a 3/8 size. So I'll thread that thing up on there and that's what I'll fish. It works excellent in that small profile, cover a ton of water, fish a lot of brush piles, any of those places those fish can just get up underneath and sun themselves where the rocky banks or that wood is going to hold heat. those are the types of areas that you're going to want to target with this bait, and you'll catch a ton of largemouth doing it throughout the winter, no matter how cold it gets. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video talking about my favorite baits for December bass fishing. Drop those comments down below for anything you want to see in Florida or anything you'd like to see over the winter here. While I'm not going to be able to get out on the water, I'm still going to be making content. So if there's anything you'd like to see specifically from the Northeast, stuff that you'd like to see over the winter when you're not fishing as well, I can make those videos. If you want to check out a video talking about this jig right here, go ahead and check this video out. Hit that subscribe button down below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.